One of my very favorite pizzerias in New York City is called Scarr's. In fact, it probably has my favorite crust out of any of them. And so a while back, I found this video on YouTube about the pizzeria. They interviewed the owner, and he showed us how he does things. And I was really excited to see that he makes his crust almost the exact same way that I do. He's not one of those eccentric types. He doesn't worry about ice water or bulk fermenting or whatever. He simply mixes the ingredients together. He uses very good quality ingredients. He mixes them together in a stand mixer, lets them rest at room temperature for 4 to 5 hours, puts them in the fridge, or shapes the balls and puts them in the fridge for 2 nights, takes them out, lets them rest for another couple of hours, and then he bakes them, shapes them and bakes them. So that's what I do. Really the only difference is I've been mixing it and then letting it rest at room temperature for about 1 hour, what I usually do. And then I let it ferment in the fridge overnight or 2 nights. 2 nights is best, but usually I just do 1 night. And I take it out and let it warm up at room temperature for a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours, and then I shape it and bake it. I wanted to see if you really have to let the dough rest at room temperature for 4 to 5 hours, or if 1 hour is sufficient. So that was my experiment. What I did was I just made 1 batch of dough, took it out, cut it up into 2 different pieces, and then just let it rest at room temperature. Take a look. By the way, this dough it's really moist. It's 65% hydration, which is a lot for all Trumps. You can get away with 58, 59%, and that'll do just fine. But I've kind of been experimenting a little bit with hydration in all Trumps. And so anyway, 65%, it makes it look lumpy, but it turns out really good in the end. So I just took 1 dough ball, let it rest at room temperature for 1 hour, and then I kneaded it, shaped it, put it in the fridge. I set my timer for 3 additional hours, came back, and this is what it looked like. It had risen quite a bit. Like you can see those big air bubbles, and it actually almost started to smell like a poolish. Kind of got that little bit of sour smell going. But anyways, I just gave it a quick beat down and shaped it into a ball and put it in the fridge. And 2 days later, I took them out, and this is what they look like. They both look great. You can't really tell from the picture, I don't think, but the dough ball with the 4-hour room temperature rest had a little more volume. I don't know if there's more volume, it was like taller than the other one. Anyways, I took them both out and I shaped them and I baked them, and they both looked and tasted the exact same. So I mean, take a look. To be honest, I've been doing so many experiments. I'm getting a pretty good feel for what is going to affect the flavor of crust and what is not. And I was not expecting any difference in flavor between these 2 dough balls. I was thinking that the one with the 4-hour rest would have a little bit different air bubble structure in the rim, but it didn't. They looked the exact same. They had the same color. They were the same crispy. The taste the exact same. So that's the experiment. It's good to know. I mean, I'm going to keep doing the 1-hour room temperature ferment or rest because it's just easier for me most of the time. But it's good to know that I can set it down for 4 hours. And if I had to go out and do something, and then come back and then shape it into the ball. I know that a lot of my experiments recently have been yielding dough balls that are like the exact same, pretty much. And I'm getting away from that. So I'm going out of town next week. I won't be making a video next week. However, when I return, I'm going to go out and buy some King Arthur, Sir Lancelot, high gluten flour as soon as I get back and start experimenting with that. See how it compares to all Trumps. I'm excited for it. And so I'm going to get moving with that, and then we're going to get into other stuff. So that's it. Let me know what you think. Thanks.